4 toxic habits that can make people lose respect for you. We all want to be respected, whether it's by our friends, family, or colleagues. But sometimes, without realizing it, we can slip into toxic habits that slowly erode the respect others have for us. Today, I'm going to talk about 4 of those habits and how Stoic philosophy can help us turn things around. These habits are more common than you think, but the good news is they're fixable. Let's dive in. Number 1. Constant complaining. Nothing drains respect faster than being the person who constantly complains. We all know that one person who always finds something to moan about, whether it's the weather, their job, or life in general. But here's the thing. Constant complaining not only brings down your own energy, but it also wears down the people around you. Let me share something personal. I remember a time in my life when I was stuck in a job that I hated. Every day, I would vent to my friends about how miserable I was, how unfair my boss was, and how life had dealt me a bad hand. At first, they were sympathetic. They would listen, offer advice, and try to cheer me up. But over time, I started to notice something. My calls weren't getting returned as quickly. People would change the subject when I started to complain, and some friends even distanced themselves altogether. It wasn't until one of my closest friends sat me down and said, "Look, I get that you're going through a tough time, but all you ever do is complain. It's exhausting, and it's hard to be around you." That was a tough pill to swallow, but I needed to hear it. And that is when I remembered the words of Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Complaining is focusing on the things we can't control, and it's a waste of energy. The Stoics believe that while we can't control external circumstances, we can control how we respond to them. Next time you catch yourself complaining, pause and ask, is this within my control? If it is, take action. If it's not, let it go. By focusing on what you can change, you'll not only earn more respect, but also find more peace within yourself. When I started doing this, I noticed an immediate shift. Not only in how others responded to me, but also in how I felt about myself. Number 2. Gossiping about others. Gossip is toxic, plain and simple. It might feel good in the moment, but it erodes trust and respect over time. When you talk behind someone's back, people around you wonder if you'll do the same to them. I learned this the hard way. There was a time in my 20s when I'd join in on office gossip during lunch breaks. It felt harmless at first, just part of the office culture. Everyone did it, so I didn't see the harm. But then one day, it all came back to bite me. I had shared something about a coworker in confidence to another colleague, thinking it would go no further. Of course, it didn't stay secret. Word got around, and not only did it strain my relationship with the coworker, but people in the office started viewing me differently. I wasn't seen as trustworthy anymore. It was a tough lesson in how quickly gossip can destroy your credibility. And to be honest, it took time to rebuild that trust. The damage was done, and for a while, I felt like an outsider. Epictetus said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." When we gossip, we're focusing on someone else's life, something completely outside of our control. It's a distraction from working on ourselves. Here's how to break the habit of gossip. Practice the art of silence. The next time you're tempted to speak ill of someone, remember, what you say about others says more about you. Instead, focus on uplifting conversations that build trust and respect. When I stopped engaging in office gossip, not only did I feel lighter, but I noticed people started coming to me for advice, trusting me again with personal matters. Number 3. Being overly reactive. Another toxic habit that can make people lose respect for you is being overly reactive, especially when things don't go your way. We've all had moments where we've lost our temper over something trivial. Maybe it's a snide comment from a coworker or a delay in plans. When we react emotionally, we often say or do things we regret. I used to struggle with this a lot, especially when I was younger. I remember one time when I was on a group trip with some friends. We had planned a day out, but everything started going wrong. The car broke down, the weather turned bad, and I was frustrated beyond belief. Instead of staying calm and making the most of the situation, I snapped. I took my frustration out on everyone, raising my voice and blaming people for things that were beyond anyone's control. The rest of the day was ruined, not because of the external events, but because of how I reacted. Later that night, one of my friends pulled me aside and said, "Your reaction today really surprised me. We all have bad days, but you let it take over." That was a moment of deep reflection for me. I realized that I was damaging my relationships by letting small things trigger such big reactions. Seneca reminds us, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." The Stoics believed that we should be in control of our emotions, not the other way around. When we let our anger or frustration dictate our actions, we become slaves to our impulses. Practice pausing before reacting. When something irritates you, take a deep breath and ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, or a year? By staying calm, you not only maintain your composure, but also gain the respect of those around you. After I learned to control my reactions, my friendships became stronger because people knew they could count on me to stay level-headed in tough situations. Number 4, playing the victim. The final toxic habit is playing the victim. It's the mindset that life is happening to you, and that you have no control over your circumstances. I've fallen into this trap before, especially during difficult times. I remember a particularly tough period when I felt like nothing in my life was going right. Work was stressful, personal relationships were strained, and I was dealing with some health issues. Instead of taking responsibility and figuring out how to improve my situation, I blamed everything on external factors. I'd say things like, "Why is this happening to me?" or "Life is so unfair." I started to notice that people around me were growing tired of hearing it. One friend even said, "I get that things are hard, but you're acting like you have no control. You're giving up before you've even tried to fix it." That hit me hard. I realized I was alienating people by playing the victim. No one respects someone who constantly acts powerless. The Stoics were firm believers in personal responsibility. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you play the victim, you're giving away your power. You're telling the world that you have no control over your life, and people respect those who take ownership of their actions. To break free from the victim mindset, practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, what could I have done differently? Instead of focusing on what went wrong, focus on what you can learn from the situation and how you can grow. This shift in mindset not only empowers you, but also earns you the respect of others who see you taking responsibility for your life. When I started to own my circumstances and stop blaming everything else, I found that people began respecting me more and offering their support willingly. In summary, the path to earning and maintaining respect is about breaking free from these toxic habits: complaining, gossiping, being overly reactive, and playing the victim. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we have control over our thoughts, actions, and responses to the world around us. By focusing on what's within our control and letting go of what's not, we become stronger, more respected individuals. It's not easy to change these habits, but it is possible. The key is awareness, self-discipline, and the willingness to grow. When you start making these shifts, not only will people respect you more, but you'll also respect yourself more. Remember, respect isn't just given. It's earned through our actions and our character. Thanks for watching, and remember, the only thing you truly control is yourself. Make that your priority, and respect will follow. By addressing these toxic habits, you can regain any respect you might have lost and build even stronger relationships moving forward.